Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today we are going to be window shopping for Pahlish Pickup Rewind. As I'm sure you already know, Pahlish Pickup is a monthly pre-order marketplace. It takes place on the first weekend of every month and there's always a new theme with a ton of indie brands making polishes or other nail and hand care type of products to fit the theme. The exciting thing is that every year in the month of July, the theme is Rewind, so it's a chance for all the makers to bring back previous PPU favorites. So I feel like it's the most anticipated month every single year because obviously with the nature of PPU and other kind of pre-order marketplaces, everything is unfortunately limited edition and not everybody is going to find PPU at the same time, but Rewind offers a good chance to get the polishes that you missed out on. I'm pretty sure that all of the brands are also bringing back a secondary polish, but that's on their respective websites. So I'm only going to be looking at the Pahlish Pickup website just because that's going to be so much easier, with the exception of one brand, but I will save more of my thoughts for the end. For now, let's just look at the website. Alright, so here is the website for Pahlish Pickup Rewind. It's going to be available from the 4th through the 7th, and the theme specifically, I guess, is past PPU faves. So as always, let's go into the nail polish and look at the first two rows here. I do remember the Amia Cosmetics Orion standing out to me whenever that first came out. It looks stunning, but I feel like I already have a lot of sheer whites with a blue glowy shimmer. Admittedly, maybe not quite like this. I think the shimmer in this is a much lighter, like cyan, aqua kind of color. I mean, in lower lighting here, it kind of reminds me of Linby's Frostlight, which is another PPU shade, but it's in like the more brighter light here where you see that whitish base color. It's stunning, but I know I don't need it. The only other ones that are kind of catching my eyes here are the Atomic Polish and the BCB, just being those intense, bright shades. The red kind of, I was gonna say, reminds me of Cracked Polish's 23 Flavors. I thought it had a little bit of a metallic kind of look to it, but seeing the slightly more close-up angle, the shimmer, I think, is a bit more noticeable. So it's not super metallic-y, maybe in certain, lighting or something, but yeah, I'm already not someone who wears a lot of red, so I definitely don't need to add another one. And the BCB looks so stunning. I mean, I can't tell if this is like a neon red or pink. I mean, it's described as an orange coral neon. I don't see orange at all. I imagine this would be way more intense than Cracked Polish's Footworthy from their summer collection. I think this one has an even stronger pinky coral kind of color to it. It's really just like the one photo that it looked more of that orangey coral that reminds me of Cracked, but it's stunning. But I don't need it. I think I was tempted initially by this Bow Revs called Ghost Ship, but then somebody talked me out of it because they were like, oh, this actually kind of looks like Lurid's A Formidable Opponent, but just, a slightly different finish. The Lurid has reflective glitters, this has hollow flakies, but the shimmer, like the cyan greenish color against the purple base, that is very reminiscent to Lurid, so I didn't end up getting it, and I don't regret it. Even though it is beautiful, I'm still very happy with the Lurid. So we can move on now to the next two rows here, and as I'm pretty sure I mentioned at some point, Bee's Knees Doomicorn is coming back this year, but as a 2.0 version. I don't know if they have it. Yeah, we followed the original formula, but decided to give this a 2.0 label as there could be a variation from the original color. I am assuming these photos are the current batch and not like, the initial year's batch. So I'm not sure if the swatchers have done comparisons or anything, assuming, they used the same swatchers. To me, it looks like the same polish. Very gorgeous, super glowy, and definitely one of those purples that has not faded. Like some of those purple pigments do have a tendency to fade into this softer pink or even like a gray kind of color, but thankfully Doomicorn has not done that. So assuming, they are using the same original pigments, this one shouldn't fade. I know I have seen some people kind of asking about that, but yeah, I don't need that. I don't need a backup or anything. And I am excited to see the chameleon nails. This one I think was literally just from last month, right? The thermal solar kind of polish where it's 4-in-1. So cool. You guys know I'm not the biggest fan of like thermals, but this one is really, really interesting. I think if you're like just starting out your collection, this is probably a really cool one to have, but I definitely can pass on it. And for the rest of the polishes here, don't get me wrong, there are some super beautiful shades. Like the Cleona is kind of reminding me of Island P's Shooting Star, being that galaxy in a bottle type of vibe, but I think the Cleona is just more blue leaning overall. There's more of a pinky shimmer in Shooting Star, so you know they're not exact dupes, but I'm happy with Shooting Star. And the cameo colors, Which Way to the Candy, this one is actually reminding me of Cracked Polish's Shanks, or even Night Owl Lacquer's Windswept, just having that gray cement colored base with a fiery shimmer and flaky. The only difference I'm pretty sure is that this cameo has a black flaky as well, so you know, I have a black flake topper, I can just add that and kind of recreate the vibes, but I do love it though. It is a beautiful shade, just so autumnal and cozy. If you don't already have something like this in your collection, I would consider adding it. But the only other one that I want to tap into is the Colores de Carol Wavelength. This green is just so striking. It did immediately remind me of Holo Taco's Wicked Potion, but that one does have like a flaky in the background. This looks like just the magnetic pigment, so it's, you know, on the plain side, so to speak, but it looks like it velvetizes beautifully, so it's still striking on its own with just the color. I think KBShimmer actually also released a plain green magnetic last winter. I'm blanking on the name, but I wonder if that one would be close to this. Maybe it's not as yellowy green and more blue green. So it's beautiful, but we can just keep it moving. And onto the next two rows here, I want to look at the Danglefoot because I'm like, oh, this might be a good option for anyone who is gonna miss out on Gates of Hell from Mooncat, and assuming you don't already have Island P's Eclipse with Hollow, this one might be a good alternative. The one thing I will say is that Gates of Hell definitely has a strong eggplanty purple sort of base color, so it's a lot warmer than like your typical black based multi-chromes. Yeah, like this one's described as an inky blue, so it's probably gonna be a bit cooler toned. Maybe this is gonna be closer to Island P's Eclipse, but I still wanted to point it out just in case. And the other one that's kind of catching my eye here is actually the Cuticula called Dead House. This is so stunning. I feel like I probably was tempted by it when it initially launched, but you guys know I've been having such a weird like year with flakies where I kind of hate them, I kind of love them. I love the mix in here, like the colors are so beautiful, giving that broken stained glass kind of vibe. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, this was like a previous Halloween type of polish, which I'm always a sucker for because the themes can be so fun, and seeing how the makers execute the themes, it's just so satisfying. But I get the feeling I'm probably not going to be wearing this as often, so I just won't get it. And then there's a few polishes on here that are reminding me of some other ones, like the DRK Nails Happy 2025. This one is immediately giving Island P's Alice. Maybe the shimmer in this is a little bit more chartreuse, like it has a slight greenish tone. It's less of that yellow gold that Alice has, or maybe like the blue is a little bit darker, but it's more or less a similar vibe. The Emily Damali Haunted Vibes, this one reminds me of Mooncat's Nocturne, I think it's called. It was the magnetic from the Fallen collection, or one of them, where it looks like it has that teal base against this really fiery copper red kind of shimmer. I think the Mooncat had some gold flakies, which it doesn't look like Emily Damali has, but again, it's like a very, very close enough vibe. And the Dom Why So Silent, this one kind of looks like Lurid's Creeping Horror from, I think it was like a Halloween collection last year. here. I don't remember if that was limited edition or not, so maybe this is a good alternative if it was. But yeah, definitely familiar vibes all around. So now we can finally move on to page number 2. And from here, okay, Ethereal's Ether Dragon is coming back. I'm urging you to not get it. No, I'm kidding. I do want to point out that this is one of the shades that I was disappointed in, mainly because I realized that the shimmer in this is so similar to Polish for Days Lush, specifically in lower lighting, which is the type of swatch that would really tempt me about Ether Dragon. And obviously, you know, it being another ethereal shade, it's just so incredibly sheer. It's basically like a topper. So, you know, unless you're into that, right? Unless you're into doing 4+ coats for opacity, I would maybe urge against that one. I do remember hearing about this garden path coming back, Told the Northern Lights to Keep Shining. It looks beautiful, but I'm not convinced that this is the garden path for me to try, like the first one, because I still have yet to try them, but it is really pretty. I think for some reason it's this purple base that I'm not super crazy about, even though it is very like on point with the theme. The colors are absolutely beautiful, but it's just one of those shades that I know I just wouldn't really end up wearing. This Great Lakes multi-chrome, We're All Mad Here, this looks so stunning, which is maybe crazy for me to say, famously, as, you know, not the biggest fan of multi-chromes, but I love the specific like color shift. The range of shades is just so stunning, so up my alley. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Cirque's Paradox, but I don't think it shifts to as extreme of a red. Like it still has more of that berry undertone, so maybe it's like some of the photos look like Paradox, not all of them. Super gorgeous shade, but I'm really not tempted by it. So yeah, I think we can move on. I'm not really super into anything else here. From this chunk, the Kathleen & Co. Molten Sky. First of all, I really wish Follow Your Dreams was on the PPU website. I honestly just wish all the brands had their secondary polish, like, you know, not in their own shop. I'm assuming it's just a better deal for them. Like, I don't know, maybe they get to keep more of the proceeds as opposed to splitting it with Polish Pickup. But for the sake of the consumer, it just would have been so nice to have everything in the same shop. So I'm not interested in this shade, but I am interested in getting a backup of Follow Your Dreams, which I know I probably shouldn't be getting backups. My collection is way too large to justify a backup, but I would argue that Follow Your Dreams is the kind of shade that I would wear over and over again and realistically go through it, you know? So in my mind, I can justify it. But yeah, this shade is beautiful though, Molten Sky. To me, it's just a little too similar to Mooncat's Fields of Lavender. I think this is maybe more of a cooler toned base. I've also seen people say that this is a lot more pigmented and more of a true purple, where the Mooncat is a little too dusty and muted, so it can kind of look muddy depending on certain people. I didn't really have that experience. Like, I thought the Mooncat was beautiful, but I can see this just being more purple. So, you know, if you didn't like Fields of Lavender, this would maybe be a good alternative to that. Speaking of alternatives, the KBShimmer Reach for the Stars kind of reminds me of Mooncat's My Bugs from the Nightmare Before Christmas collab. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that the first time this polish was featured. In a similar vein, Lumen's Aurora Beam at first glance is kind of reminding me of Mooncat's Pixie Stick, which I still cannot believe that they are retiring that shade. It is one of my favorites. I think this is more sheer. Pixie Stick has like a more white buildable crelly base. So for example, this looks like one coat of Pixie Stick, which is what I would wear sometimes. I just, you know, really love that look, but you can build it up a bit more. But yeah, the shimmer being like green head on and then shifting to blue and stuff in different angles, it's very reminiscent of Pixie Stick. I think the main difference too, aside from the opacity or the coverage is that this lumen has these like little flakies in there. Pixie Stick doesn't have that, but it's a beautiful addition, so maybe a good alternative. And also this Lemming Lacquer Euphoric Embers, super gorgeous, but also reminds me a little bit of Sassy Sauce's Cockadoodle Doom or Potion Polish's, I think it's called Midnight Oasis. I kind of always confuse the purples because they have a few purples that look like this, though I don't know how many of them are available anymore, but this definitely has a very strong blue toned purple base. Some of the Potion Polish ones are more red toned, so you know, a little different. I think even Cockadoodle Doom is more of a red tone purple, but yeah, I'm not really tempted enough to add it to my collection. And yeah, we can just keep moving. This Monarch Culture Shock, oh my gosh, that looks stunning. I think I remember tapping into this one. Yeah, this was just from March earlier this year. It's just such a vibrant shade. I love the shimmer, the reflective glitter. It's just so eye-catching, but I know it's just one of those shades I wouldn't really wear, so I can get out of here. Ooh, I'm so excited to see Pahlish's Salvador Dali. This is a beauty. This one is so pretty. I'm such a fan of Pahlish shimmers, especially in the purple bases. She does them so well, but the shimmer in this is kind of like a pastel multi-chrome in a way. The color shifts are just so pretty. It's just so much like a little pastel rainbow on your nails. If you don't already have, you know, a light purple with a glowy shimmer, I would really recommend this one. But if you already do, I mean, I can't really think of something that would be a close enough dupe to this. I feel like this was pretty unique to my collection, but you know, I wouldn't be surprised if there is something similar to this. I feel like in some lighting or, you know, angles or whatever, it kind of reminds me of how the original Curse of Calypso looked, or at least before it faded. So it's not an exact dupe by any means, but you know, if you want to kind of scratch the itch, I think this would be a really, I mean, it's a beautiful color either way. The only other one that I have my eyes on here is the Night Owl Lacquer Bat Squatch, or Bat Squatch, I don't know. This is so glowy. I mean, immediately it does remind me of Mooncat's House of Hades, just having that intense cobalt glow, but this looks like a much finer, smoother sort of shimmer particle where it almost gives it that like liquid metal, you know, type of vibe. The Mooncat has these ultra fine flakies or like a very large shimmer particle, so you see more of that, but color wise I think this could be a pretty close dupe, especially because it has that deep purple base. So maybe not a one-to-one dupe, but definitely a great alternative. But other than that, you know, the other shades are pretty but not enough to tempt me, so we can move on to the last page here, and we have some more beauties. I mean, this Painted Polish Dead But Delicious, super gorgeous. I love how the flakies glow. I especially love the base color in this. I don't remember exactly what month or theme this was from, but this is a stunning shade, but not one that I need. I feel like I might also have something similar to this. I don't know if it was from Picture Polish or something else. And you know, I do wonder too how similar this would be to one of the Mooncat flakies that they retired, not this round, I think it was, you know, a year or so ago. I think this might be a little too red though. Either way, it's super gorgeous, but it won't be coming home. This Paradox Polish Tucking Myself In, I remember there was a few Paradox shades that kind of stood out to me, and this is like another brand that, similar to Psyche Minerals or Garden Path Lacquers, it's one of those that always catches my eye, but then I never buy it, and that only just changed with Psyche Minerals, so I'm kind of waiting, you know, eventually for the same to happen with Garden Path and with Paradox. I don't think this is one of the shades that was really tempting me, but it does look beautiful. Like the shimmer color of that magnetic pigment is so striking, but I'm not crazy about the massive chunky flakes that this one has in here. I know that they are kind of sparse, but I don't know, they can be a little overpowering, but it's still pretty. Another magnetic here is Penelope Luz's Butterfly Wings. I remember also being tempted by this one, again, just because of that magnetic shimmer. Going from this hot pink to orange is so beautiful, especially in contrast with that more bluey purple kind of base color. But it really is the magnetic shimmer that I'm so weak for. It just looks so saturated, so vivid. Ugh, absolutely stunning, but I'm not gonna get it. I am not gonna get it. Ooh, I remember seeing the Polish for Days quite literally dead inside. This is another absolute stunner. Just the green, cyan, blue glow, whatever freaking color this is. It is so ghostly. I love it. I don't know if this is the same shimmer pigment that's in Lush and like, you know, the other siblings, but I can see why this is a super popular shade. I mean, it is honestly kind of tempting. You guys know I'm such a fan of any kind of ethereal, otherworldly glow, which I feel like this one has, but I don't know, there's something also about it that I feel like if I put it on myself, I just wouldn't love it as much. I don't know if it's because it has more of that strong green shimmer head on. Oh, you know, actually the shimmer being green head on with this sort of gray taupey base, it kind of, in my mind, reminds me of, I think it's Ethereal's Haunted Furby, though I don't think that one shifts to blue the way this one does. Maybe the shade of green is also a little bit different, but yeah, now that I have that in my mind, I already have Haunted Furby. My bestie gifted that to me, so I'm just gonna hold on to that one. And ooh, speaking of Psyche, they are bringing back Daughters of the Evening, which looks so pretty. Of course, it had to be the baby pink reflective glitter. Oh my gosh, that is so pretty. It definitely looks really sheer though. I mean, to be fair, the Psyche that I picked up, what was it, last month or the month before, it was also on the sheer side, but yeah, I won't be getting this one, but it is super gorgeous. I'm always going to be a fan of a twinkly pink polish, you know, so I just wanted to appreciate that one for a minute. But yeah, we can move on to the next two rows here. And as I mentioned before, Royla Lee is coming back with Don't Play Coy. This is the 2.0 version, and it looks like it says the blue base is a smidge darker than the original, but with the same flakies. So that's good to know. I mean, I mentioned in my video that the original is very sheer, so I was wondering if this one is going to be any more pigmented. It being darker, like a tiny bit, I imagine would help with the coverage, but you know, from the photos, it does look like it's still gonna be on the sheer side. Like you can see, you know, straight through to the tips and everything. So, but it's a beautiful polish. Totally encapsulates all the mermaid Pisces energy for me. So I love that one. It is stunning. Ooh, I know Sassy Sauce's Glampire 2.0. This one is another super popular one. It's basically the flaky version of Cockadoodle Doom, where, if I'm not mistaken, the base is like an exact dupe for Cockadoodle Doom, but it just has the addition of these red multi-chrome flakies. Very cool. You know, love it, but it's one of those that I can love on other people and not on me. This Swamp Gloss, I am assuming this is a thermal, or no, a steamy solar. Okay, I love this lighter color, like the 3 photos that you see here, that shade, super gorgeous. The gray is not my favorite. It is such an interesting color combination that, yeah, this just does not do it for me. I think I did see people talking about this shade though on Reddit, and they did mention that, you know, if you want to avoid this color, you can just use like a UV blocking kind of top coat, because apparently some top coats have a chemical in them that will block the UV rays and, you know, it'll prevent the solar change from happening. I don't remember which top coats do that or what the chemical is, so, you know, hopefully if I find that information I'll have it on screen. But yeah, this indoor color is so stunning. It's super, super pretty. Another mermaid kind of polish, you know? But yeah, other than that, I'm not really into anything else here. So we can go on to this final chunk here. Oh, this cuticula top coat being scented by Fruit Loops. Oh my god, that sounds so good. I don't need another top coat though, so I won't get it. And this Tyler's Trinkets Science is Pretty. Oh, that looks so pretty. I know some people really are not fans of glow-in-the-dark polishes. I think they're so fun. And I especially love a pink one. Super, super cute, but I already have so many pink polishes. This one is pretty. I love the name of it, you know, very cute vibes, but unfortunately I won't be adding it to my collection. Okay, and lastly, I want to look at the hand and nail care section just to see if KBShimmer is still listing a scrub here. And okay, they are. It's Lime Margarita, which very tempting. Ooh, I love margarita. So that sounds so refreshing. Oh my gosh, that's actually so tempting. But I know that they are also listing a ton more scrubs on their actual website. So yeah, here on their website, there's a PPU tab and they have all these scrubs here. And oh my god, wait. You're joking. Oh my god. Okay, hold on. In my video talking about, you know, the scrubs I would want to see back, I talked about the rainbow shaved ice, and I saw a comment mentioning that it was back in the shop. And I was like, whoa, what? Because this video was, you know, a few weeks ago. Polish Pickup Rewind is supposed to be in the first weekend of July, so I don't know how or why KBShimmer has listed their scrubs so early, but it looks like rainbow shaved ice is not here anymore, and that is so devastating. Why did you guys listen to me? Why did I tell you that was my favorite? Absolutely devastating. I remember checking the website and it was on here, and now it's not on here. But you know what, it's fine. I still have my one in my bathroom cabinet that I will be opening up soon. Maybe I'll save it for a little bit. But okay, let me go focus back on what's available here. But yeah, I can't help but just, you know, be a little brokenhearted that I can't get a backup of the rainbow shaved ice, because I fully was planning on doing that. So for all of you who did grab one already, congratulations. Okay, I'm happy for you. But no, I really hope that you love it, because it just was such a delicious scent. But okay, so these scrubs that they actually have here for these first two rows here, I've only tried two of them, the berry sweet and the watermelon sugar. I thought they were nice, you know, they just didn't stand out so much where I would rebuy them. I would rather buy something different, you know, just to try it. I do remember thinking this Freesia sounded pretty good, although I'm kind of nervous because I don't remember what Freesia like actually smells like. And when it comes to floral scents, I feel like I'm usually a bit more picky. Like, I just prefer my sugar scrubs being so sweet and fruity and juicy. But this one honestly does sound so nice, so you know, I'm kind of tempted by this one. I would rather try this one as opposed to rebuying the berry sweet or the watermelon sugar. And I'm not really super tempted by the other scents here. Oh, I do want to mention the restoration drops. Actually great. Definitely worth picking up, especially if you are buying any scrubs or just anything on KBShimmer's website. But moving on to the next two rows here, the amber and oak moss is another super yummy one. This came out last fall. It has a little bit more of that like masculine kind of scent, you know, or like vibe. Definitely very different compared to the typical fruity, sugary kind of ones that I go for. But this one is also really, really good. I'm actually kind of tempted to get a backup of this one. Oh, and it's on sale too. Oh, and that's the only one on sale. That's interesting. So, okay, that's, you know, worth considering. Oh, and yeah, I remember seeing like the apricot freesia. And so I'm like, which one should I get? The apricot freesia or just the freesia? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. That'd be so embarrassing if I'm not. See, this one has some of the fruity sweetness. So, okay, maybe I would get this one as opposed to the other one that's like just floral. Yeah, let me do that. Let me add it to my wish list. Okay, perfect. And right now I'm actually using the cool coconut one. This one is yummy. I don't know if it's one that I would rebuy. I mean, it's definitely yummy for summer. So like, you know, if you do not have any sugar scrubs and you're like, I'm only interested in getting one or maybe two, this would be a yummy one, assuming you do like coconut. It's not super coconut forward because yeah, this one has the coconut milk with hints of vanilla, so it's just like a little softer, but very much a summery type of scent, you know? Really nice. I've been enjoying this one so far. I actually have liked this one more than the watermelon sugar, which is what I was using just before. I think the farmer's market was another one that was kind of tempting me because yeah, this is another one that's like a little bit fruity. There's clementine, rich apple, sweet melon, but then also some florals and the other sort of base notes of like musk, amber, vanilla. This one is another one that is kind of tempting, honestly. Oh, man, there's so, that's the problem, is that they all smell so good and then I just don't, I have a, what is it called, like decision paralysis or something like that, so it's so hard. But honestly, I think I am most tempted by that because I imagine, you know, the pistachio macaron, the paradise sugar scrub, like, you know, these other ones, they sound really good. The only other one that I've tried too is the vanilla birch, or vanilla bitch as Linnery would probably call it. Kidding. This one was another really cozy one. I did really like this one. If it's still around come Black Friday, I would consider getting a bottle or a backup. This is a jar, not a bottle. But yeah, it's because it's such a, you know, wintry, cozy kind of scent. I just don't want to get it right now. I would rather spend the money on something more, you know, seasonally appropriate. So yeah, I think I'm gonna add the farmer's market one to my wish list, and I should have the apricot freesia on my wish list. And now I'm deciding, do I want to add the amber and oak moss? I mean, I feel like that's another one that technically should also potentially wait until Black Friday. Yeah, if it's around then, I'll grab it. I really don't want to have too many scrubs in my cabinet, so it should just be those two that I'm getting. If the rainbow shaved ice was still on here, I would honestly buy at least one backup of that one. I initially was gonna say two, but then I feel like, you know, getting 4 scrubs is like so excessive. Maybe I would swap out the apricot freesia or something instead, you know, and balance it out that way. But yeah, you know what? I feel good with getting those two. So that wraps up my window shopping for Pahlish Pickup Rewind. As always, I would love to know what you think of this month's theme. I guess more specifically, the offerings. Are you really excited about what's being brought back? It was really exciting to see how many super popular fan favorites are coming back this month. So I hope that a lot of people, you know, who are newer to the indie space or to Pahlish Pickup specifically have the chance to grab some of those this weekend. The major downside is not having every single polish on the PPU website specifically. Like I mentioned, I am fully planning on getting a backup bottle of Kathleen & Co.'s Follow Your Dreams, and I know so many people were interested in that one as well, but a few people aren't really interested in paying shipping a second time when it could have just been on the PPU website. Or I think specifically Kathleen & Co. maybe doesn't offer international shipping, or at least to as many countries that PPU does, so a few people aren't able to get it, and I imagine that would be the case for a lot of other brands as well. So I am really sorry if that is the case for you guys, but hopefully there is something on the main website that you are interested in getting. As of right now, I haven't gone through to see like every polish that is coming back, so there might be something else that I'm completely missing that, well, I guess I wouldn't really want to get another backup of anything, but if you do know that there's a polish that I have talked about that is coming back, please share that in the comments below so that way I can respond to it and like highlight it, because I feel like I've talked so much about a lot of favorites from polish pickup. So I would just want, you know, a lot of people to get the chance to get some polishes that I've talked about before. Also, let me know how many of you guys are picking some of the KBShimmer scrubs up, especially if you had grabbed the rainbow shaved ice one. I still am a little upset by that because I was so looking forward to getting a backup of it because it just is so yummy. I can only hope and pray that they will bring it back again next year. Hopefully KBShimmer will see how fast that one sold out and then they'll be like, you know what, that was actually a pretty popular one, we should bring it back again. I really don't know how it works with their scrubs because as far as like all the polishes, they're usually voted on either on like the brand's website, or I think this year they had voting on the PPU website directly, but I'm not sure how it works with sugar scrubs. So if it comes down to it, I will be emailing KBShimmer to beg them to bring that back, along with the strawberries and cream scrub that I talked about, which was also from like 2020. So it's another oldie but goodie, but I am looking forward to the couple of scrubs that I plan on picking up. It is annoying too that the only thing I really would have wanted from PPU this month is their scrub, but I want to avoid the same thing that other people mentioned of like paying shipping, you know, multiple times. I'm sure the lime margarita scent is delicious and it's gonna sound so yummy and refreshing, but it's one that I would rather just skip and, you know, maybe it'll come back next year. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up this video. I hope that you enjoyed, and make sure to let me know any and all thoughts you have down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!